Oh man, have you heard that track?
Oh yeah, it's my favorite. Like when the violins swell and it go bum ba da bum dum.
Gives me the chills. Every time I listen to it, it's right back to the intensity of those two rivals, finally unleashing all of their emotions after the death of...
Hey, spoilers!
What? You just said it was your favorite.
It is. I love the rest of that soundtrack, but this one is such a standout.
But why are you afraid of spoilers then?
Oh, I never played the game.
Oh.
And I never will, but don't you dare spoil it.
Let's just move on to the Music Arcade. Hello everyone, I'm Caleb the Sound Guy Firestone. Welcome to this episode of Music Arcade.
I'm Ultrakill, and I guess we are using invented games for the intro, but it's a bit of a weird case for this episode because the theme is tracks we love from games we haven't played, and it feels kind of like an opening sketch punchline in itself, doesn't it?
Yeah, I've got to be honest, I read the intro. Out of the songs we have here, I played exactly one of them, and I hated it. So, like, it's one of those things where it's like, I'm not sure what's being talked about here, or if that was a reference to something you have played. Sure.
Oh, no, it wasn't.
Okay. The joke would have been exactly the same either way, which I think is kind of the beauty of it.
Yeah, exactly, but turns out, we've talked a lot about how some tracks take a special meaning when we actually play them in context. And this episode will not be that.
Yeah, the closest one I have to context has nothing to do with the game it's actually from.
Well, that's great. And I think I know which one you mean as well. So.
I'm pretty sure you do. Since we can't really talk about the games we're talking about, let's dive into the music here. Take us away.
Yeah. And honestly, there's maybe a bit of value as well in having a talk about the music itself removed partially from the context. This is literally why we drag Eddie by force when talking about FF14.
Yeah, I was literally about to say exactly that, and that proved to be invaluable.
Exactly. So this time, we're doing it ourselves.
Sounds fun.
Yeah, and we'll start with Ace Combat 7.
So, I'll be honest, I saw this on the list, and there was a part of me that was hoping that it was one of Emmy Evans' songs from Ace Combat. I know she's mostly known for Nier, but she does other stuff too. I'm nothing if not consistent.
Love that she does. But no, it wasn't one of her tracks.
No, it was not.
Well, I probably could have picked, but I chose this one in part because I actually heard it in its context, kinda, because I saw a stream of this game. And that's when I discovered it. And it left an impression, and so it entered my regular music playlist rotation.
I get it. I've never played an Ace Combat game. And I don't know why, because I do like arcadey flight sims, so not really sure why I've never picked this one up.
Well, I know why I haven't picked it up, because, it's not just that, I could play one of those games one of these days if it's on sale or something. No, I actually have Ace Combat 7 on my Steam account, bought it near release, but I fired it up briefly, and then I was like, oh right, this is a playing game. I'm not going to play it with a mouse, and I'm certainly not going to play it with a controller. It's perfectly fine this way, but come on. You wanna play with the cool planes, you gotta have at least a flight stick.
Yeah, I get that. I've literally never done it, but I understand completely why you want to do that. There's a part of me that definitely wants to as well.
And to get back to the music, I just feel that it doesn't hit the same when you're just listening to it, or when you're chilling at the end of a mission with those amazing looking clouds passing you by, stick in hand, as the tune starts with the calm parts.
Now, I'm going to be honest with you. If you never told me the game that this is from, I would have assumed it was from, like, a indie Metal Gear Solid, like, knockoff.
Oh, I can definitely see why, with the boom, 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 boom.
Yeah,
That's
the bass
very
line,
Metal Gear.
and there's a level of tension there. You think Ace Combat, you think dogfights. This is not a song to dogfight to, at least not in my mind.
Yeah, but there's stealth missions in Ace Combat.
You're in a plane. How? Okay.
Clouds.
Sure, planes are loud.
Seriously, I don't remember the context. I saw like a stream once and I half paid attention at best, but one of the missions, I'm pretty sure, was about having a flight zone that needed to go through a dense layer of clouds in order to launch a surprise attack.
Okay.
And you had to keep up with it because your cover was moving.
I mean, that is how clouds work, so that is pretty cool.
Yeah. It tries to do interesting things with its premise, with its function, and that's why I want to play it kind of by giving it its best shot, which unfortunately involves investing and giving a fair amount of money to Thrustmaster.
To what?
Although I do... Thrustmaster, it's a company that makes flight sticks and the likes.
Ah.
Although I do remember that my brother had one and I never got back to him about borrowing it from him. Anyway, if nothing else, putting this track in there reminded me that I should probably call him back and see if I can finally get around to play that. But yeah, as for the music itself, honestly, the fact that there's this aerial level with the fact that you're on a fighter jet, but also this start that's stealthy but gentle as well. I mean, the song is called Siren Song, and the female choir right at the start are pretty good explanation as to why.
Yeah, it's so weird.
And
the choir's only at the very start and the very end.
Yeah. And in between, it's more like the fighting part with some of the game's main themes. There's more guitars, which are not like to the level of Zero from Ace Combat Zero, which is just one of the best Spanish guitar pieces in video game music history.
High praise.
Undeserved. But no, that's still something that feels active, but like you can re-establish cover at any moment. It's a song for hit and runs in the air, if you will.
I mean, again, I haven't even watched the stream. I'm divorced from this context. I don't hear it. I don't hear it. I see, like, Solid Snake with the serial numbers filed off in my mind's eye.
I guess in this regard, the fact that I do have an idea of what is the context, even if it's not fresh and even if it hasn't been re-established and lived through, certainly colors my perception of it.
You know, I wasn't ever planning on bringing this up, but I like watching cocktail YouTuber How to Drink, a guy named Greg.
Yeah.
And at one point he did an episode, is $3,000 whiskey worth it? And he got a bottle of super expensive whiskey and did a blind taste test along with a bunch of other, like, higher end but not, like, break the bank whiskeys. And it actually rated fairly low. Skip ahead, like, 6 months, he did another episode based on bottom-of-the-shelf whiskeys, like $20 bottle whiskeys. And his producers snuck in the $3,000 Pappy Van Winkle again. And he hated it. He was down on this thing. And you see him just, as she hands him the bottle, he just shuts down. He's like, we can't keep this in the episode. And I bring this up because it's exactly what you just talked about. You have a measure of context because you've watched streams of it. From me, from the outside, I am trying very hard to associate this with flying at all, and I'm just not there. And even in a wrong context situation, the context still, like, colors our perception. So I think that's a really cool thought experiment in regards to this song or $3,000 whiskey.
At least, even though getting all the peripherals is a little bit of additional cost, it's still less than one of those whiskeys.
Yeah. I remember he said in the episode it cost less than his last car. Or cost more than his last car, excuse me. I'm just like, oh man, that's a thing to say.
That it is.
But yeah, the fact that I literally just rewatched that episode yesterday before this topic even came up, so it's all kind of still fresh in my mind.
Yeah. I will say, though, the two ideas, the two atmospheres aren't completely diverse from each other, because it's still modern action stealth.
Yes.
I mean, stealth not always, but in this situation, yes.
Definitely not stealth the way I play Metal Gear Solid 3, but yes. The fight with the Sorrow took 45 minutes. I made mistakes.
Oh. Still not as long as my fight with the End, on the other end of the spectrum. Took me 2 hours, best boss fight of my life. Only shot like 3 bullets.
That's how that fight works. It's good. As a song itself, I found this song a bit on the repetitive side, to be honest with you. That one bass line that repeats just kind of carries the whole song. And I get that there's like instrumental pieces coming in and out. I think this is another of these cases where it's probably variable mix in the game itself, and these elements come up as things happen in the stage. If I had to guess. It's funny because
that's probably the case, and I'd be curious to check it out with any other song. But because it not being fresh in my mind is part of what this episode is about, I just don't know if it's modular or if it's just a looping track.
Yeah, that's a that's a good question.
Yes. Yeah, and I hope it is, even though I honestly just like this mix and play it every now and then by itself. I guess I just zone out, and given that I zone out, the repetitiveness just doesn't hit me.
Yeah, that's the other thing, is that this is definitely a vibe song. It kind of resists active listening, and for the show, I kind of have to active listen, so...
Yeah, that's a good point. Now then, how about, because we started in the air, we go even higher?
So, my pick here is actually, I forget the name of it, the exact song, but it's from Super Mario Galaxy.
It's the theme for Gusty Gardens, I believe.
Sure. I believe you. I have it on my list somewhere. I don't know. I just have it written down to Super Mario Galaxy. So when we first talked about this topic, we talked about franchises we'd never played, and I kind of had to throw my hands up and be like, does that disqualify me from certain things? Because I've definitely played a Mario game before.
I guess I mainly wanted to avoid... Here is a song in a game I haven't played because it hasn't come out yet, even though it's the series I love the most.
Yeah.
Here is a song from, like, Yakuza Dead Souls.
Yeah, I wouldn't have done that. But in this case, I've never played a Mario Galaxy game. I don't even have a Wii U, which I've said a few times now.
Yeah. And you know it's you really haven't played because Mario Galaxy the first came on Wii.
Oh, I didn't even know that. Okay, then. I do have a Wii.
I did because I played it on Wii U, in fact. On the Wii emulator of the Wii U.
Ah! Okay, cool.
And it's funny because I tried to play Mario Galaxy 2 because of all the high praise I heard for this game, but I didn't stick with it for possibly the dumbest reason. The hub just wasn't compelling. The music was great, the levels were amazing, the progression was straightforward, it just got you into the action. The hub was mid.
Sometimes that happens.
Compared to the first Galaxy.
Sometimes that happens. As for me, I'm actually not familiar with the song from its base game, obviously. I mostly know it from Mario Maker streams. I still watch those from time to time.
They're good content.
They can be. Yeah, they can be. Yeah, I don't know. Like, for one thing, even in context, like, I've seen speedruns of Galaxy, not as often as I've seen this song used in stages of Mario Maker, but I've seen speedruns of Galaxy, and I've seen Mario Maker. This song does not sound like a Mario song. It's good, I like this song a lot, but it doesn't have any of the quirk to it. It's just a really nice orchestral song.
Yeah. And if you'll allow me to add just a little bit of context.
Please.
It's the song for the very first world you visit.
Really? Because its position in the soundtrack is pretty deep in there.
I may be wrong, but I believe it's the first set of planets you visit.
Yeah, and let me tell you, there were some interesting songs in that soundtrack. A couple of remixes that we did an episode on internal remixes. There's one of the Bowser in the Dark World or whatever, the Bowser stages from Mario 64 that I thought was really cool. There was a remix of just the underground theme, which you always hear remixes of. I thought was really cool.
Yeah.
But I didn't want to pick either of those for obvious reasons. Like, that's cheating.
Yeah,
that's
exactly.
that's just the Mario. That's just Super Mario 64, which I have played. But I did want to.
Yeah.
I did want to pick this one because of how iconic it is for Mario Maker, but also because of how good of just a song it is.
It just sets the stage.
It does. It's the sweeping.
That's why I kind of clarified that I believe it's in the first level, because its purpose is to just tell you, yep, you are going to fly between multiple planets in a level, and it's going to be grandiose.
Yeah.
So that's the level we operate at.
And it succeeds at grandiose very admirably. This is the only song that I've heard at all before this episode. Maybe I heard...
Including your two other picks, then?
One of those gets a maybe, because I do listen to that composer regularly. I listen to both of... but I don't know. I just don't know. Maybe I've heard that one on one of his albums or something. That's something we'll talk about towards the end of the episode, obviously. But
it's funny, because I believe you picked this one as your first pick, right?
This Mario Galaxy song was my first pick.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So is it because it's the first thing that came to your mind?
Absolutely.
Maybe a game you were like, oh yeah, I should play that. I really like that theme.
No, I have absolutely no interest whatsoever in playing Mario Galaxy.
Oh, wonderful.
Yeah, I'm fine. That sort of 3D exploration on the small planets, it bothers my brain. That's the kind of spatial awareness nonsense that I'm not good at.
Oh, yeah, it's... I mean, not all levels are going to challenge you on that, but some definitely would.
Yeah, enough are that I'm just I'm fine just watching this one.
Okay.
I played Mario 64, I played Mario Sunshine, I played some Mario Odyssey. I have not played. Yeah.
Yeah.
And I've told the story before about why I never finished Mario Odyssey, and it's also one of the reasons why I pretty much never buy physical copies of anything. Aaron stole the flash card right out of my Switch.
Oh.
and just walked away with it.
No, that's unfortunate.
Yeah. So I'm just like, I can restore digital from backups. I can't do that with carts unless I buy extra tech.
Yep.
And I'm just like, I don't want to do that. So that's why I don't really buy physical anymore, because people can just walk away with it.
Yeah. So far, I haven't had that problem with the Switch, but I only have like 3 or 4 physical games.
Yeah. And even in the Mario Maker context, it's usually for the like low gravity levels or just we're just trolling the heck out of you right now.
To be fair, trolling content is most of what I watch when it comes to Mario Maker.
Same. If I want to watch Kaizo, I'm watching ROM hacks, not Mario Maker.
It's just like it spurred forward a series of amateur level creators in a rush that hadn't been a thing since either Flash games or I Wanna Be the Guy, maybe.
Oh, yeah.
And that's why I think Mario Maker, for all of its oddities, is going to have a legacy we still are going to live with multiple years in the future. Directly or not.
I agree. I fully agree. And I kind of wish some of the more independent clones of Mario Maker got more traction. There was a Mega Man Maker that I thought was awesome that no one really bought into for more than a couple of months. And now there's a Super Mario 64 Maker that no one's really buying into.
Yeah, like, the streaming scene is metamorphosing and has started just a few months ago with that Mario 64 maker. There's a Zelda one, I believe, that's doing the rounds. And they're trying to kind of break free, and like, if there's not a Mario Maker 3 that comes out in the coming months, what do we do?
You know, and that's...
Which I think is a good question to ask yourself.
That's a very good question, and I hope there is something that fills that space, even if it's not Mario Maker itself.
Yeah.
Because as you said, that space is worthwhile and has a legacy.
And hey, worst case scenario, there's still Super Mario ROM hacks, and maybe there's going to be a fun one with a remix of that Super Mario Galaxy track. Probably by composer or something.
I'm sure there already has been. There's no way this song hasn't made it into a ROM hack. I haven't noticed it yet, but I'm sure it's there somewhere.
Oh, absolutely.
And with that, let us move on to the only song that gave me a headache.
Aha. Well, I can't say I'm too surprised, but yeah, that is Super Robot Wars Alpha 3's opening theme, GONG. A song composed and interpreted by Jam Project, more recently known for doing the opening for the anime adaptation of the One Punch Man.
Okay.
And they have and had for a while this very cheer squad, high energy kind of tune, very shouty, very cheerful to a cheesy degree, which I feel is a perfect fit for a crossover game about heroic robots from animes that were definitely made to sell you figures.
Yeah, I'm going to be honest, the cheeriness of it definitely hit. It did. The lyrics don't really justify it from what I read in the video, but...
One of the lyrics at the heart of the refrain is "I got the power of love."
That is true.
You can't get any more on the nose than that.
I don't know, there was a lot of, like, brave soldiers stuff going on in that. I'm like, okay.
Exactly. Because it's not just one hero that's fighting the bad guys, it's a whole smorgasbord of it. Which is kind of part of why I haven't played the game. Because it... like... the song is my speed. When it's translated to gameplay, it's a bit much.
Oh, this actually plays in-game? It's not an intro?
No, I don't believe so. Okay. It's an intro, but...
I thought so. I'm like, wait, what?
I mean, the gameplay is on that degree in how much it tries to sell yourself that everything that's happening is super cool, even though it's a tactics game with robots.
Yeah, like, let me just explain for a second the construction of this song. The first whole minute of it is just classical music.
Yes.
Then guitars kick in and it goes full anime intro for the next, 3 minutes.
And to be clear, the first time I heard this song, the first minute was outright cut from the mix.
I understand why, because I feel like I got hoodwinked here. I was expecting one thing, and then I saw, on the video, lyrics in translation. Like, what? And then the guitars came in, and I'm just like, this song is taking a turn in a direction I don't want it to go. And honestly, that was the headache. I feel like I probably would be more receptive to it if I didn't spend a whole minute on an intro that sounds unrelated.
Yeah, because the intro itself, it's just strings. It's good strings.
It's nice.
But, yeah, it sets a bit of a tragic start for what's going on, and then it goes into the most extra maximalist kind of stuff.
It does. It's a real shock to the system in the worst kind of way, because I don't think it was there for intentional contrast. I think it's just duct taped.
No, I think it's the first part representing the bad guys looming over the world like a cloud of darkness, and suddenly a shining ray of light and hope pierces through this darkness to save the day once more.
I mean, sure, I guess. I don't... For
the record, I don't know if that's anything close to what happens. I haven't played this game. I haven't played much of the Super Robot Wars series at all. I tried a little the 30th anniversary game 1, and I just didn't stick with it. The only game remotely in the series I played was when they did this game but without the robot, and instead used the Sega, Capcom, and Namco crossovers and called it Project X Zone.
Oh, Project X Zone was this team?
Yeah.
Oh. Okay.
Yeah, it's... Project X Zone is Super Robot Wars without the robots.
I didn't know that. Wow, okay. You see, I'll show you how little I know about Super Robot Wars. I thought it was a spin-off of Advance Wars.
Oh, no.
No, I know that
Advance
now, but
is
for a lot of years, I thought it was a spin-off of Advance Wars.
Famicom Wars.
Yeah.
Super Robot Wars has nothing to do with that.
I know. Now I know, but that was a fairly recent acquisition of knowledge. I only learned that I think with the recent 30th or whatever anniversary one that came out.
Yeah. And I tried this one, and basically it was kind of interesting. The story sections were maybe a bit long, but fine. And I was getting acquainted to my 4 characters, starting to realize their different roles, and then I had 5 characters hoisted at me at once, and I was like, okay, probably temporary for this mission. They weren't, and I felt overwhelmed in a way I haven't felt since Final Fantasy Type 0.
That's fair. I still don't know why I like Type 0. I still don't know. I do like it.
I still don't know why you like Type 0 either.
Well, you not knowing is one thing. Me not knowing is a completely different problem.
True. But yeah, it's weird because for Super Robot Wars, I feel like there's a world where I would enjoy it, but it's never a game that's going to rise on top of the pile. In part because it makes so many references to series and universes I just don't know that I feel a bit lost. and I do have a few encore points like, oh yeah, I know this guy. Oh yeah, it's the Battleship Yamato. Great. But for every one of these, there's 4 guys that are absolutely central to the next 12 chapters of the story, yapping at each other, and this is making some people very happy and me very confused.
Yeah, this is why I couldn't really get into Tatsunoko versus Capcom. I'm just like, I don't know who half of you are, you all play weirdly.
Oh yeah. And at the end of the day, when you're in that situation, applies to Tatsunoko versus Capcom 2, I imagine, the question that remains is then, what's the gameplay like? And is it enough to make you pull yourself towards these characters and try to learn more about them? And honestly, as far as tactics games go, I haven't gone that far into it, but the one I've played felt kinda mid. Like, even Project X Zone, I like the game, the atmosphere, and the crazy crossover it enables, but as far as tactics game gameplay goes, it's mid.
Well, I mean, that just gives me one more reason not to worry about that game.
Yeah. And honestly, with so many games to worry about, isn't that a bit of a relief?
Honestly, yes. It also means I don't have to listen to this song. I'm sorry. I shouldn't be dogging on it. I know you like it, but I'm just like,
It's okay, but just justify the savagery I'm going to invoke when I do the transition by saying, speaking about mid-games, let's talk about the next track.
You know, you say it's a mid-game. I need to explain how I got here.
Go on.
So, when you issued me this episode idea, I'm going through my Steam library, and I'm looking for games I haven't played. And I stumble upon, and I mean this...
That's a reasonable thing.
I stumble upon, and I mean this, Galgun Double Piece. I have no recollection of buying this game. None.
Yeah, I was gonna say, it's surprising you have it at all.
I was surprised. You can see on my Steam profile, I have not touched it. I have 0 hours in it, 0 achievements in it. It's in my library. I don't know why it's here.
To be clear, I fully 100% believe that if you had any idea how it got there, you'd own it.
I would. I don't know. Yeah. Like, I'm very much like, did I buy this as part of a bundle? Did I buy this when I was young and horny and forgot about it? I don't know. I just know it's in my Steam library. Head scratch, head scratch, head scratch. And then I remembered a while ago, random TV tropes, which is something I do, into a spin-off. A dark Castlevania 2 inspired run-and-gun gothic horror platformer spin-off of Galgun.
Yeah.
I am fascinated by this concept. This is insane. Of all the franchises to do a Castlevania 2 inspired run-and-gun platformer spin-off of, Galgun? Who thought of this? This is insanity.
Weird people thought this.
Very weird people thought this, and I am honestly fascinated by the idea behind this game. I'm, like, baffled by the existence of this game.
How could you not wonder in bemusement seeing this and asking yourself, you're right, I do wonder what if Bloodstained had more juvenile punty jokes.
Yeah, my thought process was, what if DOA Beach Volleyball came first, and Dead or Alive leaned even more into the twisted, dark drama in the background of that franchise?
Oh, that's an optimistic way to look at things. Interesting.
I mean, that's where I'm at. You start with the fan service thing, and then you go into utterly not that.
Yeah.
I mean, it's like...
I mean, according to some people, that's kind of the path Fate took.
I think that's accurate, because Fate Stay Night was a fairly serious endeavor, but it was R18.
Yes.
The modern franchises are not that. Fate...
and you've enjoyed at least 2 Fate games.
3. The 2 Extella games and Fate Samurai Remnant.
There were 2 Extella games?
Yep, Fate Extella and Fate Extella Link. I liked Link way better than the first Extella.
Aha. Well, I didn't know there were 2 of those.
Most people didn't.
Right?
The second one is really good, though. I highly recommend it.
All right. I'll keep it in mind in case I want to play warrior-like games I haven't played before.
Yeah. Yeah, no, I have to admit, the existence of Gal Guardians / Grim Guardians I'm fascinated by how we got here. And I'm like, alright, let's check out the soundtrack. You know what? I was expecting low-rent Castlevania 2, I got low-rent Castlevania 2. That doesn't make it bad, I actually kind of like what I heard.
Yeah, it's weird, in part because specifically picking Castlevania 2 is especially funny given that Bloodstained released a mode that is literally Castlevania 2, but their version.
Oh, yeah, no, I mean, not even that, but, I mean, they also released Bloodstained Curse of the Moon, the Castlevania 2/3 spin-off of Bloodstained Ritual of the Night, which was developed by the same team that developed this game.
Yes.
Yeah. Guardian's Demon Purge is weird. I kind of want to play it. Like, how do we get here? I actually kind of want to check this out. I'm just so fascinated by it. Now, you called it mid. I do have questions about that, because...
I've played it a little. I think it was a demo.
Okay.
So maybe the options expand, but from what I played, it felt 90% of how I'm going to rate a 2D platform action game at this point is going to be how it feels to just move and perform basic actions. And this one didn't gel with me at all.
Okay. Okay, that's fair.
Like, it felt very static for the shooting part in particular.
Huh.
And so I kinda hated my time with it, but because of how it felt in the hand, not because of the source material.
Yeah.
Or anything like that.
Yeah. I again, I'm just kind of talking in circles because the origin of the game itself is far more interesting to me than I think the game would be, no matter how good it is. Because again, of all the things you spit off, like, how did we get here?
Yeah. As far as the music goes, what stuck to me is how much the bass feels utterly threatening in the piece. Like, it's about at any time to go into something about as hard as your next and final pick, but it never does, which isn't to say that where it does go is bad at all. It just feels weirdly restrained in comparison to what it suddenly threatens to be able to unleash.
Yeah, it's really pushing a subtle tension that's, as you said, I think threatening is a very good word for it. It never carries out that threat, at least not before the bosses, but...
Exactly.
Yeah, no, I like this song quite a bit. I like the piano refrain. There's a piano that kicks in during the bridge that just kind of really kind of adds an almost psycho appeal to it.
Yeah, exactly. It goes pretty hard, I gotta say. No, it's not a bad song at all.
Yeah.
I liked my time with it.
Yeah. Again, it's low-rent Castlevania 2. They knew what they were doing when composing this thing.
Yeah, exactly. Their inspirations are worn on their sleeves, and good for them.
Yeah, I mean, that's pretty on brand for Inti Creates, right? Like, they're in that same category as Way Forward, where they have that, they like the throwbacks, and they like to celebrate those throwbacks. And I just watched a movie not too long ago that was nothing but celebrating throwbacks. So there's definitely a nostalgia button market, no question.
Oh, yeah. This is like 50% of their brand at this point.
Yeah. I don't know if the game is good. As I said, I would love to try it myself at some point and see if I agree with your assessment or if I end up liking it.
Well, I'm very curious about that now.
Yeah, out of all the games here, this is the only one I'm actually tempted to seek out.
And honestly, it's probably the one that's going to demand the least commitment.
Yeah.
So that's reassuring.
Yeah, it's just
the previous one does this orientation aspect, and for the next one, there's a skill mastery that feels very demanding to it.
Yeah, I have no interest in my third pick either, but this is the one, out of both of us, this is the one that I go, I could play this. And I would love to hear this music in context. I think it could be cool. It has the potential to be. This was my favorite of the stage themes, but by no means the only good one. This was a fairly competent soundtrack.
Right on.
And, on the subject of competent soundtracks and questionable gameplay.
Yeah, no, fair. We are talking next about Wave of Darkness 1 from Kingdom Hearts 3.
Oh, this was from 3. I noticed
Yes.
that. Okay. Shows what I know about Kingdom Hearts. I played the first one, and, I want to stab my eyes out. I also played exactly 2 sections of Kingdom Hearts 2. One where Auron from FF10 shows up. That's awesome. And another that was basically just Drakengard, which was the space shooter segment.
Yeah. As for me, as the theme of the episode suggests, I haven't played anyone. Besides, I believe I tried a little of Chains of Memories on the GBA, which was the weird hybrid card battler one.
That was that one, okay.
But when it comes to the main lines, I haven't touched any of them. Not because I specifically don't want, but... Okay, it's a tale of not playing that goes in multiple phases. Starting with distinct memories of me looking at the shelves of the electronic stores, seeing Kingdom Hearts physical copies, and asking myself, oh, it is real, I guess, huh? Weird. Which was the start of the end of my interest with Kingdom Hearts, at least at the time. I assumed it would be just this weird gimmick we'd look back on a few years down the line and was like, oh yes, Square Enix did collab at one time with Disney. Weird what happened.
Instead of spawning
in a more just
what
world,
it did.
This is what would have happened.
Yeah, the fact that this franchise's popularity always baffles me.
Yes.
Last episode we talked about FFBE.
Yes.
And I was a pretty big member of the FFB subreddit back in the day. And I remember, it was at the Fan Festa where they announced the Kingdom Hearts crossover, scheduled it for right after Christmas, and some knucklehead is like, the Christmas banner is a trap banner! And I'm just like, really? That's the take you're going with right now?
Never change, FFB people.
I just find myself kind of baffled by the popularity of the franchise as a whole, because this crossover is weird. Really weird. I don't think it's ever worked.
For the standards of the idea of a Square Enix Disney properties crossover, which is a pretty weird bar, it is weird compared to that.
Yes.
And that's honestly almost impressive.
I agree. It definitely is you guys went way too far with this, and I actually respect that.
Yeah.
I don't like it, but I respect it. I'm not going to sit here and pretend this is a cash grab or anything. Everyone here was on maximum, whatever they were doing.
And that's the thing, it should have been a cash grab.
It should have been.
It wasn't. It's so strange.
And it spawned this giant franchise with this incredibly rabid fan base.
Yes, and that's kind of where the next step of my relationship to these games go. Because I have friends that are very into the Kingdom Hearts.
Same.
Yeah. I think we all have some.
I'm sure we do. I would argue it's more common than, your Fire Emblem weirdo fan friend. And you probably have one of those too.
Oh, yes, I do.
And it's like, it's one of those things where, I
mean, it says something that they have the Final Fantasy references, at least at the start. They fade away more and more as the games go on. But they have the Square characters and the Final Fantasy references. They have the Disney characters and the Disney worlds in there. And what attracts the most attention are the characters created specifically for this game and the weird meta plot that happens in it.
Yeah. Like, everyone knows who Kairi and Sora and all of them are. Everyone knows who Organization 13 is. Even I do, and I never played Kingdom Hearts 2 beyond those two, like, brief sequences, and I just get inundated with it from outside sources.
It's like if you go in a circus that has a bar, and the two main offers are, like, the strangest cocktails you have ever seen, and the meat of some animal you didn't even know it was legal to eat, and you have a friend that's nudging you with the elbow and goes, "You really must taste the fries. The fries are amazing." And you're like, I am confused in so many different conflicted ways right now.
Right? However, the one thing, and I wrote this in my notes, the one thing Kingdom Hearts did was make Yoko Shimomura a household name among game music aficionados. Now, in a just world, it would have been Street Fighter 2 that did that, but this is what skyrocketed her popularity.
At the time?
I'm sorry?
Credits were very bad at the time.
Credits were very bad at the time. But they weren't bad for this, and Yoko Shimomura has been the spearhead of the franchise's music. Anything that wasn't from Disney came from her.
I mean, that's her and Ikaru Utada for the sung theme songs.
Yeah. And this song in particular is everything we like about her. The transformative and evocative composition, the big string sweeps, the piano going crazy. It's a Shimomura song.
It's light. It's fast, but also has some sort of restraint as well. There's a bit of a sorrowful note to it.
Yeah.
It does so much in such a well-layered... It's layered, I think, is the word that stands out to me for this song.
That's a very good word. And this is something she's done going forward. Like, Apocalypsis Noctis follows this exact same formula.
Absolutely it does.
All of her work on Xenoblade 1 follows the same formula, etc., etc., etc. Like...
Yeah, she is incredible at having so much at the same time work in such a harmony and I'm fully willing to admit that, at the complete opposite of GONG, the Super Robot Wars song.
Yeah, definitely a different take here.
Yeah. But yeah, to finish real quick my story of what my relationship to Kingdom Hearts is, so strangeness, then friends that are really into it. Some of them try to get me to play it, but also they're the kind of friends that are like, okay, so we are in the first area where enemies are spawning infinitely, so now is the perfect time to grind for 3 hours and leaving the first area at level 18. Which is not how I play my games. And so that kind of turned me off of trying this series for myself at the time. And then, like, watching people play kind of became more entertaining than playing it myself.
That's fair.
Yeah, and this was reinforced when I watched HDQ in like 2013 and saw a speedrun of Final Fantasy IX in which Spike Vegeta took part, and I was like, hey, I like what he's doing, I'm going to keep an eye on this guy, and he happens to run Kingdom Hearts 1 and 2 on the regular.
He does.
Which is where I know most of what happens in those games.
In fact,
Because before some of the HD remakes, you couldn't skip the cutscenes.
In fact, I can actually expand upon that story because I was at what turned out to be the final, sadly, Smash the Record, which was a combination, speedrun event and a Smash Brothers tournament. It was my very first speedrunning event of any kind.
Oh.
And it was in Ontario, California, which is about a 2-hour drive from my home at the time.
Yeah.
And the closer was Spike himself playing Kingdom Hearts 1, and I was right there for it in the live audience.
Incredible.
So, yeah.
An experience we shared on that topic. Then.
Exactly. So, yeah, no, that's most of my exposure to Kingdom Hearts at this point as well, is speedruns of it, largely by Spike. So...
Yeah, and it's funny to see a game speedrun and hearing a lot of speedrunners talk about it and their experience. Running a game and playing a game are two completely different experiences.
Oh, yeah. Oh, yeah. There's a big difference between watching, say, Distortion 2 play Elden Ring and watching someone just play Elden Ring.
Yeah, exactly.
So
it's interesting to have not only games we've played and we haven't played and we've watched and we haven't watched, but so many different ways to experience a game beyond the expected way of sitting down and taking a pad and playing the game and having a good time.
Yeah.
And that's something I respect.
Yeah.
Video games, man, they're pretty cool sometimes.
They're pretty cool sometimes. And sometimes the musicians behind them are cooler.
Indeed. Take us away.
So, okay.
Although that would have applied to Yoko Shimomura as well.
Absolutely. 100%.
But please resume.
So, the last one I picked was Ultrakill. Specifically, UltraChurch by KEYGEN Church. KEYGEN Church...
We've never talked about KEYGEN Church before.
Actually, we have. On one of Sam's episodes, she brought up Ultrakill soundtrack before. I think the other big...
No, never mind. I believe I was making a different kind of joke.
I know what you were talking about. Yeah, that makes sense now. We have, but a few episodes ago during the visual novel episode, I talked about Virtuaverse by also KEYGEN Church, but what he is most regularly known for, in his primary name of Master Boot Record.
Yes, there we go. We got there.
We got there. And the whole reason I'm thinking of this is a couple of days ago, as of recording, Spotify indicated to me that Master Boot Record is actually touring the States and will be playing live in Los Angeles in October. And I'm like, I want to see him live.
That sounds like an incredible experience live.
Yeah, I cannot wait. He's done some like one-off shows in Europe. He's done some shows. I've never heard of him touring the States before. The second this happened, I moved eye surgery for that. I'm like, I'm not going to Los Angeles while I'm recovering from eye surgery to see what is effectively a heavy metal show. That's not happening. I'm moving the surgery and I'm flying to Los Angeles to see this. This is happening.
This is even funnier when you consider that in French, we don't say "this cost me an arm and a leg." We say "ça m'a coûté les yeux de la tête," which can be literally translated as "this cost me my eyes from my head."
That's hilarious.
Yes.
That's hilarious.
Just perfect fit.
Yeah, it really does.
To add to it.
It all came together.
Incredible.
I didn't want to talk about Virtuaverse again because I already talked about it. And he's only composed, to my knowledge, 2 games, and those are Virtuaverse and Ultrakill.
And honestly, given that they have a very distinctive style, like, I don't doubt that they can surprise us, but by playing to their strength and what they are most known for, they're pretty recognizable.
Yeah, for sure. Definitely a lot of Virtuaverse was off of their comfort zone, like, for sure. Off of Victor Love, off of Master Boot Records.
And honestly, this one almost feels like it plays with it.
It does, but you have to be kind of familiar with his background to know that, no, this is actually just a really good KEYGEN Church song. KEYGEN Church is his black metal-inspired spin-off, which is a very different sound than what he usually does.
Yes.
If you listen to any sort of black metal, whether you like it or not, and if you listen to KEYGEN Church, you know this is just a really, really good KEYGEN Church black metal song.
Yeah, and it's also so fun, this song, because it has those messy electronic sounds, but this lets the other instruments sound so incredibly clear and deliberate with it.
Yeah.
It's like, okay, we've evoked with sounds that make that closer to an impact hammer than anything else. We've managed to use that to evoke a church organ.
Yeah.
Cool. Now he's a real church organ.
Yeah.
Honestly, I love it.
Yeah, this song is incredible. I'm super happy with it. Like, as a song, I like it. And while I have no interest in playing Ultrakill, it's just not a game I'm into. Man, is this song cool. This is the first time I've really listened to this song in particular. I tend to prefer MBR's mainline stuff over the spin-off. But, yeah, as a song, this one really pushes a lot of the growth and a lot of the evolution of the song as we go. I love how it expands, and like you said, I love the contrast of instruments. Like, you have the chiptune stuff going on, and then you also have the clean in here. It works so well.
Yeah, and it's the other song of this selection that makes me wonder how it works in this game, because it's very, it's a first-person shooter inspired by Devil May Cry's style system.
This song seems like a pretty perfect fit for that kind of thing.
Yeah, but, if I take Devil May Cry 5 as a comparison point, this one also had music that evolved and went either by taking shortcuts or by progressing to the high points, depending on your score level and how well you were doing. So I wonder if there's a bit of that here too. There's certainly enough materials to play with that.
Yeah. Let me tell you, the comments of the YouTube video made it sound like this song wasn't actually originally in the game. It was in, like, side materials, promotional or something, and then got added later.
Interesting.
This isn't even, like, the famous song that he did for this game. That would be Tenebrae Rosso something. Tenebrae Sangre Rosso, I think it is, or something like that.
Tenebrae Rosso Sangre.
Sure, that one. That's like the
famous one. At least from
one.
what the recommendations on the video would say.
That would do it. This one, I think, was the latest one he did. Again, I think that was... It was one of these situations where it's just... This one, however, just speaks to me on a more primal level. I think it's... I don't want to say it's a better composition. It's definitely the one I like personally better.
I don't really have the comparison point. I haven't listened to the other, but I can definitely see the appeal in this one. It's almost like a dialogue with itself.
It is, and I think that's something it has in common with the Shimomura track we just talked about. It really elevates and really...
to be fair, a very intense, high-speed, powerful dialogue.
Mm-hmm. Oh yeah, for sure. That's, it's black metal. It's going hard. But yeah, I don't know. I'm just sort of gushing about the song. I have no context whatsoever for the game. I don't think I've ever seen footage beyond like a couple of trailers. I just have no mental image of it.
And it's one of the games that will every now and then come back to a corner of my eye, of my mind, and be like, oh yeah, I should play that, but that also never quite goes to the top of the pile as well.
Yeah, that's fair.
And because I feel that to play the game and go to the end isn't that complicated, but to really have fun with what the game has to offer is going to demand a bit of investment and mastery.
Believe it or not, that's kind of how I feel about RoboQuest, and probably why I never got back to it.
Oh, I can see that.
But yeah, KEYGEN Church / Master Root Record is amazing, and I'm really looking forward to seeing him live in October. I can't
and
wait.
Robots are judgy. I think that's a conclusion, that robots are judgy, right?
Yeah, I think we can stick with that. And with that, I'm not even going to play the theme song because we technically don't have a Now Playing.
Yeah, turns out last week was mostly filled with me going on a trip to Lyon, which was pretty great, and recuperating from that, and also taking a day to farm pigs by drinking bubble tea for multiple people. And so, pretty busy week. And now I return to my classes, and so getting back in that rhythm. So yeah, I was pretty busy, which is why it should be a bit surprising that in all of that, I still managed to do something I somehow hadn't done before in like 170 hours. And I actually not only went to a satisfactory degree, but I actually finished victoriously a full Civilization game.
Oh, wow!
Yeah! 170 hours into the game, and I never really gotten around to that until yesterday.
Congratulations!
Where I felt motivated, in part by the announcement of Civ 7.
Yeah, I've been following...
Which is looking pretty interesting.
It is looking interesting. I've been following at least Potato McWhiskey involved in how that...
Same.
Apparently, there's a great story because, of course, this happened. Spiffing Brit was one of the people they invited to see the game. Sure enough, he broke it right there in the office and everybody was talking about it.
He broke it turn 0.
I'm sure he did.
There was a stream report where they... the two of them shared anecdotes, and he actually broke it turn 0.
Perfect. As for me, my situation is less busy, but also more nutsoid. My sleep schedule went to hell again. Classes start next week. By the time this episode releases, I will have been done with my first week of class. So lesson plans and getting all that together and staff meetings and all of that.
Oh, yeah. Yeah.
Made in Hawaii Fest. I've just stressed all out. The only games I've played have been FF14, which we covered extensively a couple of episodes ago.
Yeah.
And Arknights, which is just the same thing I talked about last week, plus a rerun of something I talked about before. I just have nothing to say about game music outside of the context of the episode in particular right now. I just have nothing. I got nothing.
Oh, actually, now that I think about it, I did play Shaves 2, the sequel to Shaves.io.
Ah.
But that's... it's got some pretty decent music, although I only have half of it because the other half is locked behind a supporter pack. And honestly, it's audio cosmetics. I'm fine with it.
Yeah.
Especially since they say the explicit goal is, hey, if you want to give more money to the game, here's a possibility to do that.
Okay, that's fair.
And you get a roller coaster loop for your conveyor belt if you want.
That's cute.
But that's just the game remains the same for everyone, regardless of investment. I'm done with that. And besides, there's factory games. A lot of them have some pretty decent music, but given the duration of the play and how much it relies on you getting in the zone, it's almost too perfect set of games to put your own music in the background too. Like, I think the two best genres for that are factory games and like Euro Truck Simulator.
Does Euro Truck Simulator even have a soundtrack?
Euro Truck Simulator has an integrated radio player, and you can just from in-game tune in to any URL and listen to your favorite podcast from within the game.
Oh, that's actually cool. That's a good function. I like that. I know Grand Theft Auto 4 did something similar, but it also yelled at you for it. Like, the radio announcer for that station was all like, you probably stole these anyway. It's like, dude, shut up.
And on that note, I believe it's time for us to part ways.
I believe so. Thank you all so much for tuning in to this somewhat thrown together, but still very interesting episode of Music Arcade. We had a lot to go over on this one. I think we got some good stuff going on.
Oh, yeah. A bit in an emergency, but as often with those, there tends to be some interesting conclusions that come from that.
Yeah.
Turns out, not playing games doesn't mean you don't enjoy these games.
Oh, yeah. For sure.
Or at least what this game allowed to happen.
As always, you can find our playlist and how to contact us in the description. Thank you all so much for tuning in, and we will see you all next episode.
Goodbye.